to attempt time travel.
Sulu, take us home.
These are the voyages of the crew of the Starship Enterprise.
Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home is a 1986 American science fiction film directed by Leonard Nimoy and based on the television series Star Trek. It's a follow-up to 1984's Star Trek III: The Search for Spock, and the fourth feature film in the Star Trek series. Here's everything we know of Star Trek IV: The Voyage of Home. They must have had a lot of foolish smiles on their faces when they finished writing the script for Star Trek IV. Strangely, this Star Trek story is also the greatest, funniest, and most delightful when viewed from a human lens, despite being the most ridiculous of all. That nothing like common sense or restraint got in the way of them makes me happy. The Klingon ambassadors' protests before the Federation Council are among the unfinished business from the last film that is included in the opening of this one. Though these moments don't really relate to the remainder of the film, they do offer a sense of comfort. Just like James Bond's customary flirtation with Miss Moneypenny that the franchise acknowledges its past. In Star Trek III: The Search for Spock, the crew of the spacecraft Enterprise and the Klingon spacecraft they took over are still stranded on the distant planet. They decide to take the alien ship back to Earth, but not before they come upon an odd deep space probe. It's communicating through signals in an unidentified language that, when interpreted, reveals the humpback whale song. This is probably when the script conferences really started taking off. Try to follow along with this. The Enterprise crew discovers that the probe is closing in on Earth, and the planet might very probably be destroyed if no humpback songs are detected in response. Consequently, the crew's objective is made apparent. They must travel through time to the 20th century, acquire some humpback whales, and bring them back to the future in order to save Earth because humpback whales are extinct in the 23rd century. We hope the writers lit up cigars after coming up with this idea. Despite the implausibility of the plot, Leonard Nimoy's coolly competent direction of the film delivers what is likely the best Star Trek film to date. The Enterprise crew lands their Klingon spacecraft in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, surrounds it with the invisibility barrier, and then spreads out through the Bay Area in search of inexpensive nuclear power and humpback whales. The fact that we are so familiar with the team members already makes their search amusing. This is the 20th anniversary of Star Trek, and most of the performers have been collaborating on projects together for the majority of their professional careers. So the cast's easy rapport is unlike anything you'll see in other movies. All of these personalities are acquainted. As an example, consider the scene where two humpback whales are kept in captivity at a SeaWorld-style facility, visited by Captain Kirk, William Shatner, and Mr. Spock, Nimoy. The Enterprise crew needs to know Catherine Hicks' plans to release the whales so they may retrieve them and take them into the future. Catherine Hicks is the lead marine biologist. When she inquires about the preference for Italian cuisine, Kirk and Spock engage in a charming little verbal dance that revolves around the recurring joke that Spock is a Vulcan and cannot lie. Look for another space opera where humor is created through verbal counterpoint. Previous Star Trek films have included dramatic antagonists, like Ricardo Montalban's portrayal of the hated genius Khan in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. This time the bad guys are anonymous, the global hunters who persist in their pursuit and killing of whales in spite of unmistakable signs that their actions may exterminate these admirable creatures. Spock says calmly, "To hunt a race to extinction is not logical," but the startling film shows whalers actually engaging in this exact activity. Star Trek IV offers a heroine in Hicks as a counterbalance rather than a single human evil. The flight of the whales obviously moves her, and while she initially understandably doesn't believe Kirk when he claims to be from the 23rd century, she eventually joins the cause and even demands to go back in time with them. This is because naturally, in the absence of humpback whales, the 23rd century also lacks humpback whale experts. The film features a new significant action scene, but they aren't the highlights. Human interactions and deep, purposeful narratives has always been the foundation of the Star Trek franchise. The events in San Francisco are far more intriguing than those in space. Despite the film's seemingly implausible and awkward plot, it's the most tasteful and fulfilling Star Trek installment to date. Something that only an authentic Trekkie would know. The final installment of the unofficial Star Trek trilogy is The Voyage Home. This understated trilogy, which starts with The Wrath of Khan in 1982 and ends with The Search of Spock in 1984, is the pinnacle of Star Trek filmography. That's why you might be shocked to learn that The Voyage Home breaks every single Star Trek tradition. There's no bad guy. Enterprise does not exist. Oh, and did we also mention that the story is set around 1986? Yeah, we're aware of your thoughts. The only other Star Trek movie that takes place in a time similar to that of Huey Lewis in the news heyday is The Voyage Home. Anyway, Spock actor Leonard Nimoy directed this baby. The Voyage Home holds a special place in the Star Trek canon because of Nimoy's directing style, which prioritizes realism above epic sci-fi madness. Its overall success may have also been influenced by the fact that it was the most financially successful movie in the series and received 4 Academy Award nominations. The short version is that in 2286, a massive space probe is seen approaching Earth and uses an odd audio signal to turn off neighboring ships. When it eventually reaches Earth, it disrupts the planet's weather patterns and results in extensive power disruptions. It appears that the end is in sight. And what, then, do our heroes do? They execute a time wrap once more, pulling a Dr. Frankenfurter move. After arriving in San Francisco in 1986, the team had to find humpback whales and bring them into the future while attempting to comprehend the archaic world of the 20th century. Long life and prosperity? Not in 1986, it seems. The Voyage Home delivers sharp societal satire about Halloween in this way. Our language usage is barbarous, our engineering remarkably archaic, our medical system like torture from the Middle Ages. Our Voyage Home challenges us to reconsider our beliefs about society in these and many other ways. Hey, it might not feature as many space battles as you're used to, but The Voyage Home is a whale of a good time. What is Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, about, and why should you care? Were barbers in medieval times aware that applying leeches to their patients was insane? In essence, the question is whether or not those in the past were aware of the limitations of their viewpoints. It's difficult not to be appalled by the things that humanity has done in the past, be it slavery, war, or even simple personal hygiene. How could such folks not see the wrongness of what they were doing? When the Enterprise crews travel back in time to 1986, they pose identical questions to themselves. Did so many people really use profanities? Were they truly of the opinion that money was a clever system? And why, oh why, did they mistreat the environment, showing such a blinding contempt for what was ahead for them? Sadly, there are no simple solutions to these queries, but that is precisely the idea. We perceive nothing wrong with these blatantly harmful parts of our culture, just as superstitious medieval villagers saw nothing wrong with burning witches at the stake. The Voyage Home is here to help with that. The movie exposes our society's shortcomings and unravels them through comedy and satire, helping us to comprehend where our era fits into the grand scheme of things. Nothing like that has ever been in Star Wars. The Voyage Home was originally scheduled to star the legendary Eddie Murphy, a decision that would have drastically altered the film. In the end, Murphy declined the part because he simply wanted to play a Starfleet officer, a true fanatic. Gillian Taylor replaced his original role in the rewrite. The crew's Klingon spacecraft flew over the Super Bowl in the early draft of the script. The halftime show would have been amazing. Hey, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, don't forget to hit that like button below. And if you want to stay updated with more great content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking the red button and ringing that notification bell so you never miss any future content from us. Your support means the world to us.